21-year-old John Enox, a fraternity member at Indiana University, faced 2 rape charges, but he ends up serving 1 day in jail and he gets a year probation.
The next thing she remembers is being in a room with a guy she didn't know. She told investigators she tried pushing him off of her, telling him no several times, but he continued to have sex with her.
John did not rape either one of those young ladies.
So while authorities are investigating that, they found another case. This is from September of 2013.
A woman says she was drinking at her sorority house with friends. Later, those same friends told detectives they saw the two having sex. The victim reportedly texted Enox asking what happened. He replied, "You blacked out, so I left."
John never should have been charged with rape for either incident.
Independent of our problems with rape and the rape culture, magically, each one of these cases involved binge alcohol. Just look at the data every damn time. If people want to reduce this, that is one thing to look at. An Indiana University student initially charged with raping 2 women in 2 separate cases, sentenced to 1 day in jail, 1 year probation. The rape charges were dismissed. He pleaded to a misdemeanor. How did this happen? Back with Lisa, Bradford, and Beth. Also joining us, Yodit Tewolde, former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney. Beth, break this one down for us.
Well, first of all, Dr. Drew, when I heard what the sentence was and that it was a plea deal, I knew there was problems with the evidence, all right? Because this is not like what we saw with the Stanford student, where there was a trial, a conviction of 3 felonies, and the prosecution asked for 6 years, and the judge gave him 6 months. This is a deal the prosecution made. So we've heard that the 2015 victim says that, she's raped, but she picked him out of a lineup, and she was in a room with him. Video shows that. Video also, there's evidence that contradicts some of the proof here. There are absolute proof issues in these cases. In 2013, the victim didn't remember the incident, so obviously the prosecution was going by what the witnesses saw through the window when they saw him naked on top of her. So there are some real issues with the proof, and that's why the prosecution gave him a deal. I suspect this battery charge he pled guilty to, it's not a sex crime, so he's not going to be a registered sex offender either.
Let me get around my panel here. Lisa, you're actually nodding on this one, which surprises me.
Well, listen, I represent rape victims every day. These are the hardest kind of cases to do, either on the civil side or on the criminal side. I agree with everything Beth says, but I would take it a step further. There's no question that we have massive racial bias in our criminal justice system. When it comes from the decisions of prosecutors, of who to charge, what plea deals to offer them, what the sentences are given by judges. And I think this does fall into that category, even agreeing that there were troubles with proof. I think there's no question that he got a very sweet deal here.
Brad, you agree with that?
I mean, I don't think he got a sweet deal. The evidence wasn't there. I mean, there was contradicting evidence. One girl, I think, had 2 other men's DNA on her or around her. I mean, there was all kinds of problems with this case.
Is that the
Nobody said that. Again, let me finish what I'm saying. All I'm saying is there was problems with evidence everywhere in this case. There was contradicting statements. There was contradicting evidence. I don't think he got the deal of the century. I think he got a fair deal. And when it comes to racial bias, I agree 100% on racial bias, but I also think it's socioeconomical. When you look at like a Kobe Bryant case, like other people that have money, when you have money, you can get certain things done. You hire better lawyers, you hire investigators, you find out this evidence, you're able to get this evidence. It's not just black or white or any other kind of race, it's also the money factor. The money factor is what plays in justice systems today, and that's something that's very unfair.
Right. Yodit, settle this for me. That's terribly unfair.
Here's the thing. I think I could safely assume that everybody on this panel would never support a rapist or vilify a real victim of rape. However, we do not have a rapist here. We have the court of public opinion who has labeled this individual as a rapist, but a court of law has not found him to be as such. So that is the important thing. This is different from the Brock Turner case, because Brock Turner was found guilty of 3 felony counts by a jury. This is a plea bargain, and just like Beth said, that tells me as a former prosecutor, there's inherently huge flaws in the state's case. You have an old case, like the last panelist said. You had 2 different DNAs of other men on these accusers. That rises to reasonable doubt. If the state tries to take this before a jury, they're risking a not guilty. So what they do is they try to have the defendant on the hook for something, and that is trying to bargain at this point.
But what does the DNA of the other men show? It shows, or I guess the assumption is that she had sex with somebody
Reasonable
else.
doubt.
And she's got their DNA.
Reasonable doubt.
No, let me finish my point. That shows that she had sex with some other men, maybe, or else somehow she got their DNA. That doesn't mean that this guy didn't rape her. You know, we have to get over the idea that women have to be virgins or nuns in order to win a rape case. And
Come on, Lisa.
What is the
Terrible
reasonable
message.
doubt?
Lisa,
Explain
but
it.
then
Hold on.
also-
Whoa. Yodit, explain to me what you mean by reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt is any other explanation.
In this case, what would the reasonable doubt be?
Reasonable doubt is one of the accusers came forward 2 years after it happened. Her memory is bad. Both of the accusers' memory was bad. Number 2, DNA, like I said, found 2 other males on the accusers.
But
Number
why
3,
is that
the lead
reasonable
investigator.
doubt? Why is
Hold
the
on.
extra DNA
I'm
doubt?
explaining that.
Go ahead.
Why is that doubt? Because the defense can argue that this individual actually consented to the sex. Yes, they had sex, but she consented because guess what? The video surveillance or whatever camera phone that was going on at the time proved that they contradicted. The accuser said they could not have given consent because there was alcohol at play, right? Well, no. Footage shows right before the alleged rape that she was actually conscious. So, yes, there is a defense that could be brought before a court.
Lisa, I'm going to give you a chance to attack that defense, and I will just start by saying just because she was awake doesn't mean she was able to render consent. Alcohol can cause blackout and many other distortions of judgment.
I mean, I'm just shocked that in 2016 we have the argument that because she consented to sex with somebody else, she must have consented to sex with the guy that she accuses of rape. Most of us have consensual sex, but that's what the DNA argument is.
Well, what is the doubt then?
Let's focus on the DNA argument.
What is the doubt
That's
with
just
that?
one part.
Yeah, I'll focus on the DNA
okay,
argument.
Brad, go, please. What's the doubt?
I'll focus on the DNA argument.
Yeah.
The issue is twofold. Number one is she never said she had multiple partners that night. There was no statement of that she had multiple partners.
It doesn't
I
mean
never
she had
heard
multiple
that.
partners
All of a sudden
that
we're reading.
night.
I'm not. Wait 1 second. We don't know. You don't know where that DNA was found. I presume it was found on her, but she had 2 different men's DNA on
And
her.
that doesn't mean it was
this
that
individual.
night.
We don't. Well, again, the point. I think the point you're making is why did she hide that, right? Why didn't she bring that up?
necessarily hide it, Dr. Drew. That's misleading.
No, but
There
I mean,
was no statement. There was no statement.
That's the doubt that's raised. Is well, you'd at least ask the question.
And
Why
that's
didn't she also?
requiring every
Dr. Drew,
woman
Dr.
to be a
Drew.
virgin or she can't be raped, and it's ridiculous.
No, Dr.
I'm with
Drew,
you, Lisa.
what happened to the presumption of innocence?
All right.
Because the court of public opinion already labels people rapists based off accusations. That is inherently wrong.
All right,
That's not how the system works.
We're going to keep this going. Next, people on social media are comparing this to the Stanford rape case. Is that fair? And still to come, a baby trapped in a hot car bakes to death. Father charged. Why did he wait to call 911? We're back after this.